I'm going to bring a brief recap of the events of the past weeks. I have the Bible back here and War on the Saints. And in the Bible it says in Revelation 13:12, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard." The future Jesuit Pope, God describes him as a leopard. 666 will be a Jesuit Pope. Brief recap of the events of the past weeks. I brought charges against Jesuit Loree McBride. Let me lower this, hold on. As a Jesuit conspirator who cooperates with the Jesuit order in trying to set up a worldwide dictatorship for the Roman Catholic Church and being responsible for World War I, World War II, the American Civil War, and just about every major war in modern history. And I accused her of interfering with my relationship with Brent Spiner because the Jesuits found Brent's love for me a threat to their goal for world dominion. I accused her of drug-raping Brent Spiner to gain her entrance and then never letting him go for the next 20 years to be free to be with me, and using artificial insemination to impregnate herself with Brent's stolen semen to create a baby to trap him into a marriage with her. The first day, August the 25th, 2011, that I was supposed to testify against Loree McBride through Skype, the Jesuits bombed the courthouse and killed about 25,000 people, including some of our lawyers. This happened right before I was to testify through Skype, so we were late on the first day of trial with me testifying. The proceedings from August 25th at this trial can be viewed at Judge Terrance Jenkins' YouTube channel. That's capital J-U-D-G-E, capital T-E-R-R-A-N-C-E, capital J-E-N-K-I-N-S YouTube channel. Or just go to my website at GabrielleChana, GabrielleChana.com, and click on the link about my trial against Loree McBride at the top of the page. Jesuits gloat about their bombing and the 25,000 that they killed on their website. The address to their website I mention on other YouTube videos that I've made. The first day I testified against Loree McBride when I asked her under lie detection if she was trying to kill Brent Spiner. She pulled out something that set the courtroom on fire and singed Judge Terrance Jenkins' eyebrow and set people on fire, some of whom died. Therefore, we had to shoot her dead before she burned down the whole courthouse. The Jesuits had already bombed us on that day, and the bomb, because it was under a huge balcony, killed over 25,000 people. After about 10 shots, we finally got her down. She laughed the whole time as each bullet riddled her body. She had a wicked laugh as she died and definitely sounded demon-possessed. Note of interest, I heard a deep-pitched voice in 1993 that screamed at me, "Hey, bitch, what the fuck are you doing to my boyfriend?" Loree admitted in court on another day that she was this voice on my phone that called me in 1993. But her voice in court was high-pitched. I believe this woman is possessed of several demons and that each demon has a different pitch to its voice, or maybe the demon can change its pitch as it speaks. The deep-pitched voice was a different demon coming from Loree in 1993 than the demon who came from her during the trial. Right after Loree McBride, clone number 4, died, a Jesuit lawyer came forward and asked to replace her with Loree McBride, clone number 5. So the trial ended with me and Loree McBride, clone number 5, duking it out. Loree McBride, clone number 5, blasted before the world a naked video I made of myself for Brent Spiner and Vladimir Putin, in which I danced to the Phantom of the Opera's song, The Point of No Return, in which I stated the Jesuit order could go to hell and told them to leave Brent's penis and my vagina alone. After Loree distastefully displayed to the world the video that I never meant for the public to see, it was a private video between myself and Brent. I thanked her for showing the video because it expressed exactly how I feel. She then said that was disgusting, to which I replied it was even more disgusting to use sex as a political weapon to accomplish political goals as she did. Loree claimed she had extensive sex with Brent Spiner and produced a valid marriage license between her and Brent, which, by the way, shocked Brent Spiner because he did not know about this marriage license. Brent was also shocked by her claims that she had extensive sex with him and was quite unnerved by all this and worried that the brilliant Jesuits may have somehow seduced him into extensive sex with Loree against his will and knowledge. The second day, August the 29th, that I testified against Jesuit Loree McBride, clone number 5, this clone was killed on the spot as she entered the courtroom because I asked Vladimir Putin to set up scanners to kill on the spot anyone who entered the courtroom with a terrorist mindset. We did not want a repeat of the August 25th bombing that killed over 25,000 people. Apparently, because the Jesuits' showing of me naked before the world did not intimidate me enough, they really got brazen at this trial. The day before the trial, some Jesuits sent me an email of 4 photos of Brent Spiner naked with Loree McBride in various sexual poses, one where his penis penetrated her vagina, one where his penis penetrated her anal opening, one where he was playing with her vaginal areas with his fingers and displaying his penis naked, and one where he was sucking her anal area with his mouth. I looked at these photos and knew without a doubt that this was not the Brent Spiner who made love to me brain to brain since 2006. I figured the Jesuits were too smart to make a fake photo of Brent with Loree because we could easily show these photos were fake in the trial, so they had to be real. I stumped my mind trying to figure out how they did this to Brent, when I know the real Brent Spiner would never do this to Loree because he had adored me since 1990 and would have been devastated that he betrayed his love for me like this with anti-Semitic Jesuit Loree McBride. Brent's Jewish. I assume they used some sort of brain control technology on him, unsure of how they did it, knowing it had to be their sex kitchen program, which they even admitted on their website. This trial turned out to be really wild. I sent a copy of these naked photos of Brent with Loree to Judge Jenkins, Gerard Butler, Brent's psychiatrist, and Brent himself. Loree displayed them during the trial and accused me of stealing her photos of herself with Brent and that I was tasteless to display them before the world. I said I wanted the photos taken down, that I never wanted them displayed publicly. As the judge attempted to take them down, a hacker got into the system and about 200 photos of naked Brent and naked Loree showed up with him making love to elephants, all sorts of animals, homosexual sex, very vulgar and distasteful pornography went up on the screen for the whole world to see. I called Loree a bitch and ordered her to take those photos down, that she only put them up to get the real Brent Spiner to commit suicide. Then she ran down the aisle and met Brent Spiner in the bathroom and had violent sex with him. Apparently the sex was so violent he damaged his penis. The judge was screaming to Brent, "Brent, don't do it! Brent, don't do it!" Loree came back panting after her sexual ecstasy with Brent, and I asked her point blank if Brent was under the control of the Jesuit sex kitten programming, and if she made love to the real Brent Spiner and not his alternate personality. In the meanwhile, the judge asked me to talk Brent out of committing suicide after this, because he was trying to slash his wrists. And I tried to talk to him, and then the judge asked Loree to talk to him, and she said, "Come on, honey, don't be silly." She stated under lie detection that she made love to the real Brent Spiner when I asked her, and she passed lie. That was in the bathroom, and she passed lie detection. At the end of the trial, we discovered that the Jesuits had practically taken over the entire courtroom with their agents, and the whole jury was rigged with Jesuit agents who pronounced a verdict against me that I should be cut up and quartered and executed, and that beautiful Loree McBride was obviously married to Brent Spiner, and that I encouraged adultery in Vladimir Putin, who was legally married to Ludmila Putin. Actually, Vladimir's real wife, Larissa, died shortly before he became Russian president in 2000. And in 2001, when Vladimir Putin fell in love with me, they forced Ludmila Putin upon Vladimir under threat of war by then Jesuit President George W. Bush. Ludmila Putin is a clone of Vladimir's real wife, Larissa, who died in 2000. Vladimir has never had sex with Ludmila and has wanted me as his wife since 2001. When the Jesuits and the jury read their verdict against me, Loree laughed. Apparently she knew the entire courtroom was taken over by the Jesuits and that this would happen, which would explain her brazen behavior in court that day. Vladimir Putin was furious and took out his gun. He and his Russian comrades killed more Jesuits than anybody else. We had a shootout at the end of that trial because it was obvious that the entire courtroom had been taken over by Jesuits, and a lot of Jesuits died at the end of this trial. During the middle of the shootout, Brent Spiner returned to his real self and started shooting Jesuits dead. I then looked at Jesuit Loree McBride and said, your husband is not very loyal to you. He's shooting dead your comrades. My men would not allow the Jesuits to kill me, so they shot dead most of the Jesuits who had taken over the courtroom that day. The shootout lasted for about a half hour, and I think hundreds, maybe thousands of Jesuits died, because they had literally flooded the courthouse that day and had practically taken over the courthouse, which would explain how they got away with all they did in the courtroom that day. After the shootout, the judge informed me that he wanted me to be there through Skype for the execution of Loree McBride and all her clones the next day. I'm going to continue this on another tape. This is part 1. And I'd like to advertise this book, War on the Saints. If you are a new Christian, because of how you've seen God work through this trial, go to my website at gabrielchana.com. On the first page, click on the link about how to fight demons as a new Christian. It'll take you right down to this book. And this is the Bible on this side. This is the end of part 1. We're going to move on to part 2.